Chapter 19, Frozen Paper. Elfie was lost. He knew where he was, but he didn't know where he should go. Home? He didn't want Dad to see him like this. It would upset him too much. School? This could be a brutal enough place at the best of times. That means if you go to school, it'll be a very harsh and violent environment. Why? Because the boy with no teeth, that's what he would become forever. So everybody will start teasing Elfie for having no teeth. So he shouldn't go to school. Having a brace or a big front teeth that made you look like a bunny rabbit was bad enough. Elfie realized there was only one place to go. Ding! The bell at the top of the door of Raj, newsagents, rang as the boy entered the shop. So Elfie went to look for Raj, the newsagent. It served to alert the shopkeeper that a customer was either coming or going. Also, it woke Raj up. He was a big, soft marshmallow of a man, and although he loved selling sweets, he loved eating them even more. After the rush of sugar following a mid-afternoon scoffing session, he would often fall asleep at his counter. Indeed, when Elfie entered this particular afternoon, Raj was snoring away with a gobstopper still in his mouth. Gobstopper is like a sweet. A slick of the newspaper spit was spreading over the newspapers because Raj is sleeping, right? So a slick of his saliva was on the newspapers. Raj woke up with a start, spat out his sweet and exclaimed, "Ah, young Alfred, my favorite customer!" His voice was as bright and colorful as the confectionery he sold. Confectionery is sweets, okay? So his voice was so bright and colorful like all the sweets he sold. Elfie always looked forward to seeing Raj. The newsagent knew how poor he and his dad were, and being a kind-hearted man, he would often give Elfie a treat to take home. So he would often give Elfie something to take home. A melted ice lolly, a chocolate bar that had been slightly nibbled by a rodent, that means a rat have taken small bites of the chocolate bar, or a bag of jelly babies that Raj had accidentally sat on, so all the tiny tots were now flattened. Raj wasn't a wealthy man, he wasn't a rich man, and couldn't afford to give anything more. But to Elfie and his father, they were like gifts sent from heaven. So all this chocolate bar that's nibbled by rodent, this bag of jelly babies that are flattened, they are like gifts from heaven, and the difference between going to bed hungry or not. So this little snacks, right, actually help Elfie and his father to go to bed not feeling hungry, okay? Entering Raj's shop today, the boy couldn't even force a smile because Elfie's really sad, right? His teeth are all gone. "You are very quiet this afternoon," young man mused. That means the shopkeeper's thinking very hard. Mused the shopkeeper. Squinting his eyes, he took a better look at his favorite customer. In truth, Raj had a lot of favorite customers, but calling them all that made them feel special. So Raj had a lot of favorite customers, but he called all of them favorite customers because that will make them feel better. "There is something very different about you today." Raj came out from behind his counter to give the boy a closer inspection. So Raj came closer to the boy to check on him even closer. "You have had a perm." Perm, that means curly hair. No. That thought was dismissed as soon as it had been thinked. Think is a made-up word. Now it should be thought, okay? So Raj thought, maybe Elfie had a perm, had curly hair. And he said, "Oh, no, cannot be." "You have had one of those far too orangey spray tans." No. So Raj is thinking, what's different about Elfie? Raj lowered his head, so he was staring the boy right in the face. Elfie opened his mouth to reveal, that means to show the full extent of his toothlessness. Okay, toothlessness is a made-up word also. So Elfie opened his mouth to let Raj see his his mouth that has no teeth now. The news agent peered inside. "I've got it!" exclaimed Raj. "I've got it this time." Alfie nodded his head in encouragement, like, yes, what is it? It couldn't be more obvious now. "You have had your teeth whitened!" The boy rolled his eyes. Like, "Are you serious? You can come up with this kind of answer? I don't have any teeth and you said my teeth are whitened." "Oh, no, that's not right, is it?" Alfie shook his head. "No, it's not." "You have had all your teeth removed." Raj then repeated what he had just said 100 times louder, double checking if it could really be true. "You have had all your teeth removed." The man was so flabbergasted, that means very shocked. He needed to sit down and he sank onto a large box of crisps. Look at this is a large box of crisps. Unfortunately, that means too bad, he was far too heavy for it, and within seconds his weight has flattened the box completely and he was lying on the floor. The bag of crisps had all exploded and teeny flakes of crisps now showered the shop. So he squashed the bag of crisps and all the crisps all flew everywhere. "Oh dear," said Raj as he tried to heave his generously proportioned bum off the ground. So he tried to lift his bum off the ground. "Remind me to knock a penny off the price of those chips," because he's flattened those chips. So he say, "Remind me to not to sell it too expensive, sell it cheaper because the chips are spoiled already," he added as he fumbled to his feet. "But why, boy? Why? Why have you had all your teeth removed?" Alfie had given up trying to talk for now, and mime, that means he started doing action without speaking, the international sign language for pen and paper. So he tried to do this like, "Pen and paper, please," okay, by pretending to write. "The bill?" So Raj, when Alfie did this, then Raj was like, "The bill? You want the bill? That means to pay money?" No, pen and paper," guessed Raj. "I'm good at charades." Charades is a game where you act something and then someone have to guess what's it. The news agent started rushing around his shop trying to find some paper and a pen. His shop was infamous, that is, it was very famous in the town for being incredibly messy. It was never easy to find what you wanted, not even for the owner. "I think there are some post-it notes in the freezer cabinet." So he kept some notes, some writing paper in the freezer, just under the chalksies. He slid open the glass roof and reached inside. "I don't remember why I put them in here," he muttered. "At least they won't have gone off." So he's saying that luckily he don't know why he put his paper inside the freezer, but at least the paper wouldn't go bad because they're in the freezer, right? Next, Raj scurried, that means rushed over to the other side of his store. "A pen!" he exclaimed. "I think I put one in the sherbet dip that a while back. I ate the liquorice stick." Liquorice stick is like a candy stick. "So I popped a black felt tip in it. Not as tasty as the licorice, I'll grant you, but still an effective way of enjoying the sherbet." So this is a packet of sherbet, like a packet of white powder. Then he placed his pen inside the sherbet. After a short while, Raj identified the correct dip dab and pulled out the pen. It was coated in the fizzy white powder. So this sherbet is like some white powder to eat lah. Then he put his pen inside. "Sherbet?" asked Raj as he offered Alfie the pen. "No." So Raj said, "Do you want this sherbet?" The sherbet that Raj stuck his pen inside. Alfie shook his head. So Raj licked it clean before handing it to him. "Slight taste of ink," he mused. "Otherwise fine." So he tasted the sherbet. He said, "Oh, there's a slight taste of ink. So tell me, young sir, what on earth happened?" 100 frozen, you know why frozen? Because he put the post-it notes, the writing paper inside the freezer, so it's frozen. 100 frozen post-it notes later, so after writing 100 frozen post-it notes later, Raj had been told the whole story. By this time, Alfie was crying hard. What had happened to him had finally sunk in. Raj gave the boy a much-needed hug. The news agent was big and fat and squishy. He was good at hugs. "You poor thing," said Raj as Alfie's tears soaked the man's bright orange shirt. "I am so angry with that Miss Root. First she goes into the local schools and gives out free sweets, taking away all my customers, and now this." Poor Alfie couldn't stop crying. Raj patted him gently, and the boy sniffed. You can blow your nose on that Hello magazine. Now wait here, I have an idea. The end.